This is a second in a series of videos, 3 videos that are showcasing my project. It's a 1971 2800. It's an E9. It's had a Motronic upgrade and a 5-speed. It was a 4-speed, and I installed a 1985 635 or an E24 driveline, including the transmission, the fuel injection, the Motronic ECU, the hydraulic assist brake and steering, and it's all been integrated and burned in. And I've run the car about 1,500 miles, and I still have to work out whether I'm going to install an O2 sensor or find out there's a means to set up the ECU so that you're basically making the ECU setup so that you don't need a O2 sensor. But right now it's kind of running in an open loop default, which means it's running rich. But the performance is okay, and I'm just a little bit stalled on time on this car. But my next thing to do is to fine-tune the performance, and I'll be doing that next. The fuel gauge works. All of the idiot lights in here work. There's low fuel that burns white, and you've got about 40 kilometers when that starts flickering, and then when it's on hard, I think the manual says you just better get fuel immediately. The tachometer works, speedometer works, but the clock does not. I'll go ahead and start it up. Okay, well, there you can see the oil pressure, the charging indicator, and then there's a brake indicator there, which will illuminate if the handbrake is set, or if there is a failure or a pressure drop in the hydraulic circuit for the assist braking. So that will, I've got the brake off. Now the brake I redid on here too. These E9s are notorious right in back here for failing. It's kind of flimsy metal back there, and constant yanking back on here over a period of years causes the pin to come out, and pretty soon your brake is not functional at all. Now it's still cold, but I'll let it run for a little bit and take a walk around and go into the engine compartment and show the exhaust. I have a 2.5-inch exhaust running the full length, starting there's a 2-to-1 coming right off the stock exhaust header, and I ended up putting a 4-inch, let's see if we can take a look at it, a 4-inch resonator up forward, and then back here in front of the spare tire well you can see the MagnaFlow stainless. That's a 6-inch muffler there. I tried to recreate as close as possible the stub as it comes out. It's got a real nice sound to it. Got some water hydrocarbon byproduct coming out of the exhaust. Let's look at the motor. There we go. Now, I don't have the exact coil spark plug wires that I want, but that's another thing that I'm going to be doing next. Then I may end up doing something with my filtration. Maybe figure out how to put a cool air intake on it. All of the parts, fuel rail and parts on my throttle body, you can see they're all been plated. And let's let it warm up a little bit. See down nice and clean. Of course, I never run this in the rain, and I'm always, my wife is on my case constantly for spending so much of my free time on this car. The Motronic, you can see I've put it here. I am going to build a blind for it so that if I do ever get caught in the rain, to keep water from coming in through here and landing on this, I'm just going to, by putting a cover on, it'll run off and go down into the trough here and run out the drain tubes. There's a drain tube on each side, but anyway, you can see the wiring comes through. I could have put this down in behind the glove box, but it's just a real bear to get to, and I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do. I may move it yet. Haven't made up my mind yet. The motor that came out of the 635 had about 97,000 miles on it, and I had compression on each cylinder at around 205 to 209 on all the cylinders, and there was no disparity, any remarkable disparity at all in the compression. The heads came off and I had those redone. So other than it running a little rich, being an open loop, the performance is pretty nice. And